Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about three different things actually. One, how not to act when you get laid off or fired. It's equally as important. God, my voice squeaked right there. It is equally as important to leave a job with class as it is to be fired with class, right? To be laid off. And there could be a lot of reasons. And in all reality, if you're a good employee in today's tech and software world, you really have zero chance of getting laid off because they need everybody they can. Now, if you're a bad employee, this is for you. But if you're getting laid off anyhow because the project got completed, they decided not to hire you at the end of your contract, whatever it may be, we're going to talk about how to leave that with class. Then we're going to talk about what not to do. And then we're going to talk about how to do research for a company. And the what not to do is a wonderful story from a disgruntled employee where he posted a fake job posting for his old job. We'll get into that. So if I were to get laid off from a role for whatever reason, chances are that it's not because I was doing something shady or illegal. It just didn't work out, right? It was a company where maybe I wasn't a good vibe for them. Or maybe it was a situation where my contract was up. So these things happen, right? But that doesn't mean that it has to be the end of your working relationship with that company. It does in the short term, right? But the way that you need to handle it is completely different how this gentleman handled his. And in this case, he worked at a digital SEO and a marketing company and a social media company. One of those everything sort of small business companies. We do your websites, we do your SEO, we do your social media. One of those types of guys called Oh My God National in Plantation, Florida. But if I were to get laid off, what I would do is I would ask for a letter of recommendation. Now, assuming that you didn't do anything shady, and we're assuming that everybody here has a functioning brain, that they're not getting laid off because they did something bad. Now, oftentimes, even if you are a bad developer, you can get a letter of recommendation. Oftentimes, it's just maybe they were looking for someone more senior, and you were on the junior end. That's okay. People have bumps in their life, and although they may be letting you quit or laying you off, they understand that, right? So, let's say that something awful happened to April. She got hit by a car, and now I needed to take care of her, and I was emotionally distraught, and it was affecting my work, and it just went on and on and on. I'm not talking about a week. I'm talking like 6 months in, and then finally I said, look, man, you're killing our project. We understand that you're going through some personal things. It won't just move on. But that's a dramatic situation. But you guys get the idea. There are bumps in life where, you can maybe emotionally change as a person and it affects your work. And they'll understand, right? You want to still have them as a reference, still have them as a contact, get a letter of recommendation, and you just want to say, I understand, smile, nod, say, maybe say, is there anything I can do to change your mind? I really value this job, whatever it is. Normal people things. Like, this is stuff that I think is common sense, but we have to talk about it because there's people out there in the world that don't have it, right? Just doing normal things. Treat people how you want to be treated, right? That's really what it comes down to. You can relate to their side of the argument too, of where they're saying, you know what, we gotta let you go because X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z are usually pretty reasonable stuff if you haven't done anything abnormal, right? And so, if you're just getting laid off or essentially fired because of maybe you weren't the best at your job, or maybe the personal stuff in your work quality changed, you do have the, hey, can I get a reference letter, be on good terms, and leave, right? Collect your unemployment, there's worse things in life than collecting unemployment, all right? I've never collected unemployment, but I would be very happy too. I tell you that much, right? So that's how, handle it like you would expect somebody, if they were on the other side, to handle it, like an adult. Like something that, like maybe 3-4 years later, you've got more experience, whatever personal dilemma that affected your work is gone, and you could reach out and say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is how much I've improved. I see that you have this opening. Companies are willing to rehire employees, even if it didn't work out the first time, if some time has passed and you can show that you've matured as a developer and as an individual, or whatever the issue was, that as long as it wasn't too crazy, right? Like, so the other thing is, before we go over this beautiful letter, I'm gonna read it word for word, and it just was a smile on my face reading stuff like this. The other thing is that do your research about a company, right? If you don't know that there's a site called Glassdoor, before I ever go and interview with a company, I actually look them up on Glassdoor. And typically, the way that it works is you can see what jobs they have, what salaries people have posted. So let's say that you're interviewing for a role and it pays $20 an hour, and maybe that's a good amount for you. But if you're potentially thinking of leaving, let's say you're making 40 and that you see that the range on there is 20 to 25 for people who have worked there, you may want to bring that up earlier on into the conversation, or you may not even want to have that conversation because it's not a realistic possibility for you to take it. You can also see interview questions so that you can be prepared for that. I'm more so talking about seeing the reviews, right? Seeing what people have to say about the company. You'll see, what the job is. You can narrow it down by job as well, the pros and the cons. Now, in this case, they have a 3.9. I treat Glassdoor like I treat Amazon most of the time, where I don't order, when I buy on Amazon, I just filter by 4 stars and above. I don't order it if it's not there, and I don't like to interview at companies that are below that. Now, 3.9, there's a little bit of leeway if it's a good job, right? So I might go, okay, check it out. But I would say that you should normally put more emphasis on the most current reviews, in my opinion, because we don't care if people were treated great in the past. We're talking about the present, right? Like how are people feeling about it in the present? So you can kind of scan through here, see the jobs that you're looking for, and go on from there. So before you are a disgruntled employee because you've got a low-paying job, or you worked with somebody who has no business running a business, right? Or has no business being a boss, do your research on the company and make sure that it's a good work environment. This is something that April personally suffered from at a job. First job she got out of college, and she really hated, but she worked it for quite some time because we needed her to, so that we could pay the bills, right? But it was an awful company. If I had thought to look it up on Glassdoor at that time, I didn't. So I encourage you guys to do your research before you apply to a company, because you don't want to invest. Sometimes interviews go on 5-6 weeks, and I will say that the one company that I put the time and effort into a which was rated out of about 1,000 different reviews on Glassdoor, had a 3.5 rating, that half a star below what my normal rating is, but I made that exception. They actually burned me in the same way that all the reviews said that they were kind of shady in. And so a lot of times if you don't want to look at the signs, that's on you, but at least you have a resource to see what may happen. So now that I've said how you should act in an interview and how you can do your research to make sure that you don't feel like you have to act out, let's go about this gentleman right here. And mind you, there might be some graphic words in here. These aren't my words. I just want to read about the frustration. And sometimes it's equally as important to talk about how not to act as how to act. So here we go. This is for the same company, WordPress. And what's really funny is I went on their website and they actually have this exact role that they're hiring for. So I know this dude got laid off, right? They're looking for this guy. So they're looking for a WordPress developer, designer/developer. Compensation, not nearly enough to put up with the nepotism and massive churn rate. Employment type, full-time wage slave. Compensation again, because compensation wasn't enough once before. Peanuts. Department web farm reports to incompetent and lazy power whores who like the sound of their own voices. It's not how you should act. Just keep this in mind, right? You can think it maybe sometimes. Just don't say anything. So just laugh to yourself. So OMG National, a failing 25-year-old marketing and advertising firm that was inherited by an incompetent CEO by the name of Jesse Lubar, is seeking a qualified WordPress designer and developer to exploit. This is a key position that will be responsible for abiding by horrible web practices and standards designed to defraud thousands of small business owners in America. The designer/developer will have the ability to work on a wide range of victim businesses throughout many different industries. This is a critical position as we look to exploit our web department in farm-like conditions compared to India and China. Don't worry, there's free coffee that tastes like cheap Dunkin' Donut leftovers. A successful candidate must demonstrate a solid understanding of obedience towards a dictatorial, you guys know what I'm trying to say, dictatorial, oh my goodness, owning class. They also must be able to show examples of their previous shit work and must have experience in designing poor websites based on the WordPress platform. We maintain a specific standard here and we like to meet it. The SALT level is over 9,000, boys and girls. The SALT level is over 9,000. All right, so essential duties and responsibilities. I would post a link in here, but I imagine this won't be up too long. So that's why I'm reading it off to you guys. Design visually sickening, non-creative websites within WordPress with the use of unsafe, virus-prone plugins. Develop and customize elements on new and existing WordPress websites that were built by someone who was employed at the company for about 3 months before being churned out like butter. Manipulate a comprehensive library of virus-prone, unsafe WordPress themes and plugins given the project specifications. I think the best part about this is if you just took out the sarcasm and the salt, this is probably pretty close to what the resume would, or the job app would look like, right? So, troubleshoot poorly written, sometimes outsourced PHP, MySQL, and CSS issues related to an environment with a ridiculously low retention rate of creative labor. Produce unoriginal website, mobile site layouts, and execute layout revisions designed by a poor designer whose creativity has been slowly and systemically killed over the last years. Be extremely obedient with slovenly and slave-driving internal project managers, following detailed commands, and working within our SAG's use of proprietary CRM effectively and efficiently for an embarrassing low sum of money. We like to think of our CRM as Salesforce's forgotten little autistic brother. Ooh, that's a little something, right? Qualifications. Exploitable, obedient, in fear of management and job loss, multiple dependents, see above reasons. A willingness to just bend over and take it in the ass daily. Work environment. OMG National's office is a place where creativity comes to die. Our company is housed in several cubicle-separated, farm-like offices at our headquarters in Plantation, Florida. This position is for desperate local candidates only. Compensation plus hiring. This is a full-time position with a slave starting wage and expectations of a full-stack developer. Interested applicants should submit their resumes to Josh Early, a hard-headed imbecile that takes pleasure in reassuring himself of his own sexuality. And I love that he actually is putting people's name in here. No shame. Please do not call us. We do not like listening to the slave class. If an applicant has previously applied to a similar position, we would still encourage the applicant to submit their application, as we could potentially exploit them again. Hiring process overview. Due to the expected large volume of applicants, qualified individuals, as determined by their willingness to eat ass for peanuts, will be invited in for a pre-interview and interview in the same session. All pre-interviews will consist of a ridiculous aptitude test process that will take a total of 360 minutes and has absolutely nothing to do with your slave role. Those who do not meet the minimum threshold will not advance and will be kept on record for future exploitation. Those who do meet the past threshold will then be given a formal interview that discusses the next steps. Don't forget to bring your own lubricant of choice. If you do not bring your own lubricant, we will spit on your hands. On our hands. So, don't when you get laid off act like this, right? So that was a little bit of fun there. The gist, the what I want you guys to take away, other than that last one-liner, which he's thinking the whole time, how am I gonna work the whole lubricant thing into here? And he's like, I'm gonna end with that shit. I'm gonna end on that. That's gonna be a great ending. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is do your research on Glassdoor about companies. See what the pay is, what the culture's like, You know, obviously use your best judgment. And if you do get laid off, if you do get fired, and assuming that you're not a complete imbecile for whatever reason, act accordingly. Tell them thank you for the opportunity. I was glad that we were able to work this long together. Ask for a letter of recommendation. Ask if you can use them as a reference. Whatever it may be. A lot of people will work with you. You definitely don't want to talk about the willingness to just bend over and take it in the ass daily. That's not a way to go out. So, let's give away a course, right? That's what we like to do on these videos. Let's give away a course. And why don't we use the word slave wage? Is slave wage? Well, I was gonna do peanuts. Peanuts is better. Slave wage might be offensive. We'll do peanuts. So if you want to be eligible to win a free course, I believe we still have one more game course or a Python course that we'll give away. Don't forget to like the video, comment with the keyword as well, and be subscribed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this highly educational, fun video. We gotta have some fun sometimes, right? Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Special thanks to our sponsors, Dev Mountain. If you're looking for a coding bootcamp where tuition and housing is included, definitely check them out. Appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.